Have you ever been late for a job interview? How did you feel about it? How did it make you feel? And what did you do thereafter? I think I get many people struggling with communicating well whenever they get late for a job interview, whether virtual or physical. While I know you're wondering, why am I even doing a content on getting late for a job interview? It's because most of the time we are expected to be on the good side, that is getting to the interview on time, get there 20 or 15 minutes early. And we never ever imagine what else happens should I get late for a job interview. So yeah, that is what this video is about today. What should you do if you ever get late for a job interview? Welcome back to another episode. This is Careers with Nelly and my name is Nelly. In this channel, I'm all about sharing with you content on career growth, personal growth, job search strategies, interview tips to help you build a rewarding and fulfilling career. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and I'm happy to learn that this channel has added value to you. So today's conversation is just all about telling you what you need to do if you ever get late for an interview. And even though we really want to be on that other side, but both you and me agree that sometimes at one point you may get late due to things that are completely out of your control. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other time, and she was called for an interview, and the moment she was just leaving home to go for that interview, she just realized that her baby was unwell. And in that instant, she had to first drive to the hospital, drop the baby, and go to the interview. So she was around 2 hours late. She was scheduled for morning hours and she was getting there in the afternoon. But of course, there's a process that she went through and was allowed for a reschedule of the same interview the same day. So if such things, unforeseen things ever happen to you, maybe getting a crazy unexpected traffic jam, maybe just if you're doing a virtual interview, just at the point that the interview is starting, your machine just crashes or shuts down, or at that point you just realize that your network or power just goes off. There are things we really can't control, but it's not a time to panic. So that's why I think it's really important for us to have this conversation on what can I do, because I have seen in the instances where candidates get late for an interview, it causes an extreme panic. And one of the reasons people who get late for interviews unfortunately, rarely make it or perform well in a job interview is because of the panic that is caused by lateness. Because we are coming from a background, or we are in a space where we think that if you get late, then it's the end of life, and we begin blaming ourselves for that. So let's dive into this conversation. So first, it's important that, as I said, it's important for us to understand that circumstances in life can put you in a place where you can get yourself getting late for an interview, and it may be out of your control. So the first thing that I would want you to do if you get late for an interview, if you ever get late, is to communicate. Yes, communicate and let the people who are interviewing you know that you will get late. And at the point of communication, sometimes you may not necessarily need to say exactly why you're getting late. It depends how late you're going to get. If you're going to get late like 2 hours, more than hours, then you may have to state that, I'm sorry, I've just gotten an emergency, which is this and this, but you're really not compelled to reveal. I am asking you to extend my interview time with 1 more hour, maybe 2 more hours, so I can come after 2 hours. If you fail to communicate, I have also seen instances where people get late, they fail to communicate, and just after the interview is done, you see somebody appearing. You're told, oh, so-and-so is still there, when you've even maybe thought that they're not coming. I've also interacted with people that when they get late because they feel they have really made a mistake, so they can't even pick a call, because they can't even pick a call, that's now a personality issue, maybe people who don't know how to handle such situations. So he or she just prefers to either just not come, and when you don't come, imagine you miss out on an opportunity. Not come for the interview completely, or not receive the calls, not respond to texts, not respond to emails, and just appear for the interview 3 hours late unapologetically. So it's important that you communicate. Communicate through the mode that you're using. If it was a call, pick up that call and call them and let them know you're running late. If it's a text message, send a text message and let them know that you're running late. It is courteous, it is respectful, it shows that you care about that job. If it was an email, send an email and just notify the company that you will be running late for an interview. Another thing you need to do is to show remorse. You need to be remorseful, especially if you get to that interview. The moment the interview starts, whether it was a virtual one or a physical one, please first just start by, thank you for allowing me this time. Thank you for being patient. I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience that my lateness might have caused. If you had not said the reason now, it could even be a good time to say the reason. I just realized that as when I was starting, at the point when the interview was starting, my machine just shut down, my device just locked, and I had to have it sorted before logging in. At the time when I was starting, my power just went off. Those are things that were not within your control. At the time I was starting, I just realized that my network is faulty, and then I could not get the connectivity. So you owe them an apology. So you need to say the reason why you're apologizing, and it is good to say it even at the point that you have gotten into the interview. So show remorse. Don't just walk in and feel like, okay, and make them feel like it's just a normal thing. Because I said one of these things, about life is about showing concern, showing courtesy, respecting other people. Show them that you also respect their time. Show them that you really care about that job, and you're sorry that it was beyond your control, but you're finally here. So next time you're late, please remember to be remorseful, to show remorse. And the next thing that you really need to do is to stay calm. As I said, some people, when they get late, also it gets to a point where they don't want to pick calls. They become so frightened. They begin to sweat, because you believe, I think naturally, maybe we come from a background where making mistakes are really condemned. So, you think you've made a mistake, you begin to blame yourself. Oh, I would have planned better. If it's about planning, it's okay. Let it teach you, by the way, so that next time you plan and organize yourself better. But if it is out of these other things that you could not control, don't blame yourself. It's not the time that you begin to blame yourself. Oh, I would have done better. I would have done this and that. I would have tested, I would have maybe moved to another place with more stable power and all that. Sometimes you may not know. So do not blame yourself. It's not a time for self-blame. It's not a time for self-condemnation. It is a time for you to stay calm, and if it's beyond your control, because the moment you begin to bring those feelings of blaming yourself, you become so frightened and you lose it all. You lose your confidence, and that's ultimately going to affect your performance in the interview. So it's important that you stay really calm, calm your nerves, and let lateness not be the reason that affects your performance in the interview. Another thing you need to do is to make it up by performing excellently well. I think I'd shared this story. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I'd shared this story, I think like 1 year ago, where sometimes back I interviewed a candidate. I remember the interview was scheduled for around 2. They came by 3, and we actually had to wait for them, but they did so well until they've kept there waiting for the interview. When you maybe you have to step out and do other things, but when they came, I was like, okay, so the wait was worth it, and he got hired. So just ensure that when you're late now, you make it up by performing excellently well. So you see now how how these things connect, how you need to be calm. You don't need to blame yourself so that you don't affect your performance even by an inch. So perform excellently well. Perform excellently well. Just show confidence, show your knowledge of the job, show your expertise. Just display that you are on another level when it comes to your value and your match for that job. If you perform well, it will actually dilute, or it will overtake all those other things of lateness and all that inconvenience that you've caused. So still, you have a chance, whether you get late or not. You still have a chance if you perform well in the interview. And the last one for this video, which is also very important for your own personal growth, is to learn from that situation. Learn from it. And now, assuming it was not as a result of a circumstance which was out of your control, maybe it is you who didn't organize yourself well. And when you stay in a place where there's a lot of traffic, traffic never becomes an excuse, because you've already known, this is the road that I'm going to use, so I need to get here early. I need to leave home or wherever you're coming from very early so that I beat the traffic. So you always need to have an allowance of 1 or 2 hours for that traffic and any unforeseen instances. So it's quite important for me that even as you call the panelist, communicate, show remorse, you stay calm, make it up by performing well. But what about you as a person? You need to be very open to learn from it. So learn from it. If it was out of your disorganization, poor planning, please next time learn from it and coordinate yourself well for the next interview, because we want to get the job. That's why we go for the interview. So we are trying as much to be in a place where our performance will not be jeopardized by anything that we can control. So learn from that situation, learn from that instance, learn from that incident, and make sure that next time, if it was something that was within your control, control it and do better. So I hope this has given you insights. This has actually put you in a place that next time you get late because of things you cannot control, you'll not kill yourself. You'll not feel guilty. You'll actually know how to work out well, communicate with the company, and just get into that interview and still nail it. So thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, this is a good opportunity for you to just click that subscribe button. Subscribe. Put on the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. And most importantly, share your comments in the comment section. Let me know some of the topics that you also want me to talk about in my next videos. And I'll be very happy if you share this content with your networks, with your brothers and sisters who are also want to make themselves better, position themselves for those rewarding and fulfilling jobs that we so desire. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.